Welcome. This is the fourth of a series of Savings Challenge videos focused on being better disaster prepared and resilient in cost-effective ways using the power of the internet. This is a bonus video focused on a subject related not just to disaster preparedness savings approaches, but savings approaches covering every area of life, from your home and car to family care and pet care to travel and entertainment. This video focuses on customer ratings and reviews and using them to get the most and highest quality for your money. So it isn't strictly focused on saving money, but rather on gaining quality. There are plenty of research websites that provide customer ratings on businesses and business items. You can get customer reviews on restaurants, hotels, cars, and dealerships, items for your home, almost anything. The ratings are usually based on a number from 0 to 5. It can be the number of circles or stars or something else. How useful the ratings are will depend on how you utilize them. This video focuses on showing you how to best use this information to get the most for your money. Let's say you're looking up a particular restaurant online. You find it on sites like Yelp or TripAdvisor with a customer rating of 4.0 or 4 out of 5 circles or stars. Is that a trustworthy rating? What if it came from just one reviewer? Can you trust it? The answer is probably not. That one person could be the business owner or an employee. Great caution is needed when you only have a few reviews. In comparison, here's another restaurant with the same overall rating, but this time from 174 reviewers. The greater the number of reviewers, usually the more reliable the result will be. So what does a rating of 4.0 or 4 stars out of 5 really mean? It can mean a place that is reviewed good more than great, or a place that has many excellent but also many more poor reviews. It suggests a good establishment, but that's really about it. Alone, it doesn't tell you if the food is really good, if the service is fast or slow, or such. Here we see 4 different review combinations that each yield an overall rating of 4 circles or stars. Most desirable is to have a greater ratio of good or excellent reviews to poor or terrible reviews. The greater that ratio, the better. So image A would be the most desirable based on this. The better places will likely have more excellent reviews than any other category. This leads to a rule of thumb that I often use, the 20-10 rule for utilizing customer ratings. It's a guideline for assessing reliability of a given rating. It incorporates 2 things. First, the more reviewers, the better. So you want at least 20 reviews for a reliable result, although 50 or 100 or more would be even better. Second, you want there to be a greater ratio of good and excellent reviews to that of poor and terrible reviews, at least a 10-to-1 ratio, although greater than that is even better. Ignore level 3 or average ratings in this assessment. As your reviewers decrease below 20 and your good to bad ratio decreases below 10-to-1, the risk of a bad experience or result increases. So what do you think of the rating breakdown shown here? Does it meet the 20-10 rule? It does. We have more than 20 reviews and our good to bad ratio is 10-to-1 or greater. In this case, 30 good to 0 bad, meaning you're likely to have a good experience or end result when visiting this establishment. How about this business, also with a 4.0 overall rating? Does it meet the 20-10 rule? Not quite. It has plenty of reviews, but the number of poor or terrible reviews results in a good to bad ratio of 7.5 to 1. While the odds still favor a good experience or result, one can consider the risk of the opposite to be greater. How about this example? With 1,656 reviews and nearly 400, or 25% of the total, being excellent. While the majority of reviews are excellent or good, there's also a greater number of poor or terrible reviews, nearly 10% of all reviews, resulting in a good to bad ratio of only 5-to-1. As with the prior cases, we do not count the average reviews in the determination of this rule. Now compare the last example to this one, also with a large number of reviews. Here we see a much larger number of excellent and a smaller number of terrible reviews compared to the prior example. This is an example of a very favorable result for this establishment, with a large majority of reviews being excellent, with terrible having the fewest number. We have a good to bad ratio of 24:1. It is very likely you'll have a great experience or result. Generally speaking, as overall ratings rise above 4.0, they are more likely to achieve the 2010 rule, while ratings below 4.0 become more likely of not achieving the guideline. This establishment had an overall rating of 4.5. Here's an example that doesn't quite meet the rule, but it's close. It doesn't have enough reviews, but all but one are good or excellent. It's still likely your experience or result will be a good one, since there's only one bad review and you can't please everyone. But the odds would be greater with a greater number of favorable reviews. Take a look at the 4 ratings for restaurants shown here. Which one of these 4 meets the 2010 rule? Hopefully, you found it to be example A, with a favorable number of reviews and a good to bad ratio around 16:1. Example C is close, with a good to bad ratio of 8:1, close to meeting that rule. Example B doesn't have enough reviews, and example D has a good to bad ratio of just 4:1. The text information provided by the customer can actually be of greater usefulness than just a rating number, but its value is based on the amount of detail provided. Here are 3 examples for a 3.0 rating for a given restaurant. Which of the reviews provides the most useful information? Most likely, the greater detail in the longer bottom example, right? Another problem with ratings is that people have different opinions on what a given score means. For the same exact experience with minor issues, some people will give us a score of 3, while others might give it a 4. And others might still go with a 5 if the overall experience was great. So look at the text reviews. Each of these reviewers scored their experience a 3, or average, on a scale of 0 to 5. The top and bottom examples express concerns that led to a 3 rating. But what about the middle example? Were there enough problems to really justify a 3 rating? Thus, it is often better to read the reviewer's information and not just trust a number. Here's another example for a Canon digital camera. The reviewer gives 5 stars, but doesn't give much detail on the quality of the camera or the reason for the high review. Compare this review to this one, also for a 5-star rating. Can you see the difference? The latter example offers a lot of information about this camera and why the reviewer is happy with it. This can be really helpful when researching the item. There are 2 important points to consider when utilizing ratings and reviews. First, it's important to make sure you are comparing apples to apples, so to speak. This can be tricky. Here are 4 different brands of a digital camera with seemingly similar lenses, all rated highly. The price changes dramatically from $1,400 to just about $450. That's a huge difference. But are they the same quality camera with the same quality features? What features do you need, and which ones can you live without, if it means dramatically lower price? Does the $1,400 camera give you more of what you need than the $450 one? Or are they similar quality? Note that the ratings are similar in all examples, but the actual text reviews could be helpful in distinguishing the features of the camera that you really are looking for. Secondly, when reading the actual reviews, look for duplication. The reliability of the information you're getting increases when multiple reviews say the same thing. For a restaurant, look for multiple reviewers to reference excellent service. When looking for a dish to try, sometimes you can get good information and recommendations in customer reviews, especially when multiple reviewers recommend the same dish. Here are some key points that I hope you gained from this video. Feedback from past customers can really be quite helpful for researching the quality of an item or business, but only if used correctly. Overall ratings are a good starting point for distinguishing good and great from average or poor. It is important to look at the number and pattern of ratings, such as the number of good and excellent versus the number of poor and terrible. Consider the 2010 rule. Place more faith in ratings with 20 or more reviewers, although preferably 50 or 100 or more, and with at least a 10-to-1 or greater ratio of excellent and good to bad and terrible reviews. The actual text reviews themselves can be more valuable than just a rating when it comes to learning what is good or bad about an item or business. Greater detail can bring greater value to the review. Look for duplication of information from multiple reviewers to increase review reliability. Be careful when judging an item or business based on a small number of bad reviews. You can't please everyone. Sometimes a business has a bad night. The 20-10 rule can help. Ensure that you are comparing apples to apples when it comes to a particular item or business. Are the items you're comparing exactly the same? This video focused on effectively utilizing customer ratings and reviews to get the highest quality result for the money. Given what you learned from the other savings videos, do you see how you could utilize customer review information to comparison shop quality, as well as using the internet to comparison shop price? Thank you for watching. Try going online and researching restaurants in your area. You can use websites like Yelp, TripAdvisor, or even Google Maps. How are your restaurants reviewed by other customers? Do the available ratings meet the 20-10 rule? What do the text comments say about these establishments? Discover what you can find through customer reviews.